most people overestimate what they can't do and underestimate what they can. They think building wealth requires a six-figure income. They think sovereignty is reserved for the rich, and they think Bitcoin is out of reach. But here's the truth. Becoming part of the 1 million sats club is not about wealth. It's about perspective. And it's not about buying a full Bitcoin, it's about stacking small amounts consistently until you hit a milestone almost no one else will. And that milestone, well, is available to anyone and on any budget. Now, I just quickly want to chuck this in here as well. This is my brand new course called Sovereign by Design. Now, if you want to check this out, I'll link it down in the description below. And please be aware that it's also currently free. See, let's go ahead and break this mental barrier. Now, you don't need to time the market. You don't need to gamble on altcoins, and you don't need to risk your cash. Now, you need one thing, and that's a system. And that system is DCA, otherwise known as dollar cost averaging. Now, it's the simple act of buying small amounts of Bitcoin on a schedule that you can afford, without emotion, without panic, and without trying to be clever. Now, this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a get-free-slow strategy. Because when you commit to stacking sats consistently, every paycheck, every month, every season of your life, the impossible becomes inevitable. So what does it take to actually hit 1 million satoshis? Well, let's anchor in the math. 1 Bitcoin equals 100 million sats, which means 1 million sats equals 0.01 worth of Bitcoin. And that's the 1 million sats club. But here's why that matters. There will never be enough for everyone. Only 21 million coins will ever exist. And if you divide that across 8 billion people, well, the math shows most will own nothing. But the difference between owning nothing and owning 1 million sats is the difference between being a spectator and being a participant in the new financial system. So, how do you actually get there? Well, let's go ahead and run the numbers. Say you're on a really tight budget, $5 a day, maybe even less. But $5 a day, well, that's a coffee, that's a sandwich, that's the difference between scrolling past your future and stacking it. And at $5 a day, you're buying about $150 worth of Bitcoin per month. So depending on the price of Bitcoin will depend on how long it will take. But let's just say it's not going to be a decade. It's not going to be a lifetime. Just a couple of seasons of consistency. Now, let's say you can do that with $10 a day. That's around $300 per month. Now, at that price, you hit 1 million sats definitely in under a year. But now, let's say $20 a day. Well, you're probably going to be there within 5 to 6 months, depending on Bitcoin's price. And if you can only do $1 a day, well, that's fine. It may take longer, but you're still going to get there. And you'll still be ahead of billions of people who never started. See, the math doesn't lie, but consistency compounds faster than luck. See, think about how most people spend their money without ever noticing. $25 on takeout, $40 on drinks over the weekend, $60 on a subscription stack that they barely use. Now, individually, none of those feel like much. They're forgettable, gone by next week. But now imagine this instead. Every Friday, instead of letting $25 slip away, you stacked it, week after week. No excuses. Now, you didn't care about headlines, you didn't care about volatility, and you didn't care whether the number was green or red. You just stacked. Now, fast forward a few years, and you'd cross the 1 million sats milestone without ever realizing it. Now, the difference, well, those same dollars that would have vanished into convenience now represents sovereignty. Every sat, a receipt of discipline. Every sat is proof that you chose ownership over impulse. Now that's the power of small consistency. But here's what most people miss. Hitting 1 million sats isn't just about wealth. It's about belief. It's about telling yourself, I don't need to wait for permission. I don't need to be rich. I don't need to time the market. I just need to act. Because when you stack sats, you're not just collecting digital coins, you're stacking discipline. You're stacking sovereignty. And you're stacking the habit of freedom. And once you cross that 1 million sats threshold, well, you'll realise it was never about money, it was about who you became along the way. So, let's go ahead and zoom out. If Bitcoin continues on its adoption curve, hitting market caps similar to gold or global bonds, well, we're talking about prices between $500,000 and $5 million per coin. And at those levels, 1 million sats isn't just a digital badge, it's a life-changing purchasing power. It's tuition for your kids. It's a house in your hometown. It's the ability to live off savings instead of selling your time. And the beauty is, well, you didn't need to risk it all. You didn't need to gamble. You didn't need to be perfect. You just needed to be consistent. Because in a system designed to dilute everyone else, consistency in Bitcoin is resilience. So when people say, I can't afford Bitcoin, they're revealing the trap they're still in. They think ownership requires millions. They think freedom is reserved for the elite. And they think sovereignty is out of reach. But the math doesn't care. The blockchain doesn't ask how much you earn. All it cares about is whether you showed up. $1 a day, $5 a day, $20 a day. It doesn't matter. What matters is the habit. Because once you hit your first milestone, and once you cross into the 1 million sats club, you're no longer on the sidelines. You're in the game. So, here's your move. Stop waiting, stop overthinking, stop telling yourself you can't afford it, and pick a number that you can commit to. $1, $5, $10, and start stacking. Because the sooner you begin, the sooner you realise that the hardest part wasn't the math, it was the mindset. And when you cross into the 1 million sats club, you won't just own Bitcoin, you'll own your future. Now, one last time, if you do want to come and check this out, Sovereign by Design, there'll be a link for this down in the description below. Now, if you've made it this far, and if you're looking for something else to watch, well, I have this playlist just here, which you can go ahead and binge watch if you enjoy my videos, or if you want to watch something shorter, then watch this recommended video by YouTube.